All right, so our last calculation example for this lecture is going to be a rate. And in order to calculate a rate, you're going to want to use the following formula. And what this formula does is it takes the steps that I listed in the other slide and just turns them into a mathematical formula. So to calculate a rate, you're going to take the total frequency of something occurring, the total number of cases or observations that you have, divided by some total population in which it could occur. Then you're going to multiply it times a base number. And here, F again is number of observations. N is going to refer to a total, which in this case is the total population. And your base number is going to be whatever number it is that you chose when you're going to say, number of something per some number of people, or any other kind of population you might have. So as an example here, I want to talk about two cities. In city A, we have a population of 240,000 and 120 assaults. In city B, we have a population of 48,000, and city B also had 120 assaults. So the question is, in which city are you more likely to be assaulted? Well, just looking at our total numbers here, we've got 120 assaults in this city and 120 assaults in this city. So it would look like they're the same. But the issue here is that we're not taking into account the number of people in each city. So by calculating rates for these cities, we can find out, per 100,000 people or per 10,000 people in a city, how many assaults did we have? And so for this example, I'm going to calculate the rates of assault per 10,000 people in each city. So for city A here, we're going to be using this rate formula to calculate the number of assaults per 10,000 people in the city. And so for city A, our F, which is the total number of cases or observations, is going to be 120. So there was 120 assaults in the city. N is going to be our total number here, which is our population. So of the total number of people who live in the city, 240,000, there were 120 assaults observed. And our base number, which again is just chosen by whoever it is making the rate, is going to be 10,000. So it's arbitrarily chosen by me as a base number for calculating this rate. So in order to calculate the rate, we're now going to plug our numbers into the formula. So our rate for city A is going to be given by this. We have our frequency, so the number of times that this has occurred, divided by our total number of people in the city, which is 240,000, times our base number, which is 10,000. And if you plug all these numbers into your calculator, you should get a value of 5. So this is 5 assaults per 10,000 people. In other words, for every 10,000 people who live in city A here, there are 5 assaults. All right, so let's check out city B. In city B, we have the same value for F. So our frequency of assault, the total number of assaults that have occurred, is 120. Here, though, our total population, or the total number of people in the city, is going to be 48,000. And our base number is going to be 10,000 again, because that's what we chose to calculate these rates. So the rate for city B, we're going to calculate in the same way, and we're going to plug these values into our equation. So for F, we have 120. For N, we have 48,000. And we're going to multiply that times 10,000. If you plug these numbers into your calculator or your Google bar, whichever one you're doing, you will come out with 25. And what this means is that there are 25 assaults per 10,000 people. So what this tells you is that for every 10,000 people who live in city B, there are 25 assaults. And now if we compare the two cities, we have a much different picture. So for every 10,000 people who live in city A, there are 5 assaults. For every 10,000 people who live in city B, there are 25 assaults. So assault is much, much more common in city B once you account for population. And so this is what we do with rates. We account for the number of times something has happened per some number of people in the population. And so it allows for comparisons between different cities or other units that have differing populations. All right, so that's rate, and now I'm going to hop back to that PowerPoint.